Okay, we're live. twager.com. We are now looking at the Charles Schwab, and I'm going to demonstrate our free downloadable spreadsheet and how to quickly pick valuable players based on salary and production. When you go to the twager.com website, you will see this downloadable spreadsheet. It's called an pro analytical roster. And the reasons behind pro and analytical are explained in the website. I'm not going to go into it, but we're using a lot of artificial intelligence and robotic processes and grinding statistical analysis to come up with a value formula. In the spreadsheet, it's a little more advanced. We'll list the player, which is pretty self-explanatory. The salary, as posted by DraftKings, they're listed from increasing salary to decreasing salary. The player's average fantasy points per game. Each player has a figure that when they compete in these, and they're tracked on their fantasy point production, which is pretty important because fantasy points are not only from golf statistical analysis, but they're also from, say, if a person gets 3 birdies in a row, they receive more fantasy points. If they go all rounds under 70, they receive more fantasy points, and so on. So it's not just their driving distance and accuracy. It's a good value point. I went ahead and did the math. This is salary over points. So this figure right here is just the numerical value that results when you divide salary by the average points per game. It gives you a figure that shows the value of the player, how much they cost, basically. In this case, Oberg is 126. He's fairly cheap on this list. You'll go down through the list and you'll see some players. Alex Smalley seems like a bargain at 121. Keith Mitchell seems like a bargain. His Satsuni is a good bargain. Thigala. The most important thing that we produce is this composite score. This is the crunch. This is where we put our analytical conversion in and come up with a number that represents the value of these players. They look somewhat even throughout. There's a couple of players that are of lower value. Some are of higher value. It's fairly close because in general, until you get to the lower players, the values remain pretty intact. They do descend, but more importantly, what we pair with that is our own calculation, our final value for the picks. This is the number one place to find the information that you need. And honestly, if you have the player name and this column F, the lower the value in column F, it's sort of like a handicap. The best golfers have the lowest score because it's subtracted basically from a composite score and some other methods that we use to gain this. So the final value score is the most important thing that we use to determine our best picks. 37 for Oberg is definitely outstanding. So we highlighted in blue. Ricky Fowler had a low handicap, which we call the fair value formula, and so on. So we've kind of already highlighted in blue the ones that we think are outstanding. Now there are some that we could add uh, that are close in value. We don't want to miss anyone, but comparing a Thigala to a Messner, you have a 20 versus a 42. In this case, we selected this one in particular. Sometimes we'll even put it in a different color, perhaps a green, to make it stand out. But the idea is to have this sheet. You can add your own individual rating or scoring for each of these players, and then you can do formulas and spreadsheets and basically like some math if you think that there's a reason to subtract. The things that we use are social media scores. We track injuries. We track whether the player has had a rough week, if they just have a new baby at home, things that might distract the player. We've already taken into consideration. In addition to all the stats, we make the stats hierarchical according to how the player will play on a particular course. So if driving distance is important, we will make that a higher priority item and increase the percentage of points we allow for driving distance. If it's driving accuracy, that it's important. So basically, you're getting a custom made every week. We're putting these sheets out there custom. We're making them free. So right now, there's a cost associated with this for these advanced formulas, but for the initiation of this website, which is 2 days old, by the way, the analytical formulas and the rest of this is years in the making. The website is new. We wanted to push these. We're ready. We're ready to push these out. We think they're polished and they're good information. So we'll have more videos to follow. The main thing that you need to do is go to TWager, and it's spelled TEE wager, WAGER.com. Okay. So twager.com. Go to the download section, get you a free Excel spreadsheet, and start crushing these picks. I know that the last week I'm archiving the previous picks that we've done, and you will see the correlation is beyond statistical significance. It's there. So that's all we have for now. Check out the website, twager.com. Get you a free download. Try it out. Give me some feedback. Is it too much? Is it not enough on the spreadsheet? Should we just put the player and the final value? Would that be more simple? We can email that out, player and final value, so you don't even have to download a spreadsheet. Let us know. That is all.